All right, fam. So we're a little late today. My apologies on that one. I actually fell asleep after my run. I was a little tired this morning, but I'm here now. So let's get talking. It's that time. So welcome to the show where I remind you to rise with purpose, where I remind you not to wake up on accident, not to live your life like an accident, to put a direction to it, to make a goal, write it down, and change your life. Don't wait. Make today the day that changes your entire life. Every person's life to change. I always said it seemed like a moment, but it actually took their entire life to get to the moment. Is today your moment? Today, I'm going to go a little bit softer than I normally do because I want to talk about something that requires a little bit more finesse. A lot of times I meet things with aggression because it gives me significance to get connection. It gives me certainty to know that when I raise my voice that people will listen, but sometimes that's not the message that I'm trying to get across. There you go. This morning I want to talk about forgiveness. This morning I want to talk about what hate truly does to you if you hold it inside. Hating someone is like drinking poison and hoping that it hurts someone else. A lot of times when we hold something in, and we all do it. We all do it. I've held things in for years. I'm literally just sitting out there right before I came on thinking about, who I need to forgive. And the first person I needed to forgive was myself. I need to forgive myself for the fact that I can't always reach my goals as fast as I want to hit them. I needed to learn to forgive myself for letting my teeth, go when they started to break. I could have done something. But I just gave up. Even my body. You know what I'm saying? Like this show, your body is a physical representation of your choices in life, your priorities in life. I let that go. So the first person I had to forgive was me. I had to be real with myself and say, listen, man, you don't stay in it 100% of the time. You give up, you back off, you listen to the reasons instead of going for the results. And that's one of the things I had to look in the mirror and be honest with myself about. Because if I wasn't, I would start to resent myself. It's one thing to come on here and be aggressive and get in your face and tell you to make a change. And that's because I'm passionate. I want you guys to understand that. But I'm so passionate about it because I know what it's like to live with regret. I know what it's like to wake up every morning and not have a plan and think that you're just going through the emotions. I know what it's like. But I had to forgive myself for giving up on myself and not pushing past that. I had to forgive myself for every morning that I knew I should do better, and allowing myself to not push myself to be better. That's why a lot of times I meet this with aggression, because aggression is a familiar, comfortable emotion for me because of my past. But what you need to understand is that for true growth to happen, you're either growing or you're dead. That's the law of the universe. You grow or you die. So the first step of growth for me was forgiveness. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the fact that a lot of people out there are so hard on themselves because they think that they should be perfect. And that's great that you have standards. I'm proud of you for having standards. But what I need you to understand is that happiness should be your goal. And if happiness is your goal, you should never sabotage your happiness by setting standards that are unattainable. And that's what a lot of us do. If you're anything like me, you had a snapshot in your head of who you thought you should be right now. A picture in your head that society created, that your spouse created, that you agreed to, but you didn't even create. but it's a snapshot that you compare yourself to every day. And you make yourself feel like you're unworthy because you're not that snapshot. But what I need you to understand is that you're bigger than that snapshot. That snapshot is the opinions of other people around you. Your passion, you were put here for a purpose. And no one else knows that purpose. No one. Only you do. And you can change the world with your purpose if you truly believe in yourself. But what I'm going to ask you to do now is to look yourself in the mirror sometime today, not right now, but sometime today, and forgive yourself for not being always showing up 100% of the time for yourself. That's one of the hardest things that you can do, is to understand that sometimes you let yourself down and then we beat ourselves up over it. Forgive yourself. It's that easy. Just say, hey, look yourself right in the mirror and say, listen, you didn't give your best, but you can next time. Because it's when you stop trying is when you fail. So forgive yourself and you'll be able to take that step, that next step, a lot easier. But looking yourself in the mirror, really looking yourself in the eye is the hardest part, because you can't hide anything from yourself. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. The first step is forgiving yourself. The first step, I'm not yelling at you this morning. I'm not in your face. Well, I'm kind of in your face because of the camera, but you know what I mean. But I don't want to yell this at you. I want you to listen to this, and I want you to hear what I'm saying. Forgive yourself for not being the person that you think you should be. And begin to be grateful for the person that you are. I'm going to say that one more time because I know it's hard to hear and I know it's heavy. Stop being so upset with yourself and forgive yourself for not being the person that you think you should be right now, and start being grateful for the person that you are. Growth takes perspective. Perspective takes pain and experience. Why do you think that when you think wise, you never think of someone young? Because it takes experience and it takes lifetimes of pain in order for you to learn those lessons. But I'm going to tell you something this morning that I want you to soak in. And that's why I'm not going to yell it at you. That's why I'm not going to scream it at you. If you forgive yourself, you can begin to forgive others. But if you never forgive yourself, if you continue to lie to yourself, you'll always lie to others. If you continue to fight yourself, you'll always fight others. And if you don't forgive yourself, you will never be able to forgive someone else. You will never grow past where you're currently at without forgiving yourself first, because without you knowing what it feels like to give forgiveness and receive it, to be able to say, I don't show up 100% of the time for myself. I let myself down, but that's okay, because now I'm acknowledging the fact that I don't always show up 100%, but I show up. And as long as you keep showing up, that's the point. But if you want to make progress, you have to forgive yourself. Now, how does that carry into other people? When you can't forgive yourself for something, a trauma in your past, you carry that into every relationship that you're in moving forward. When you can't forgive yourself for the trauma and the pain and the mistakes that you caused yourself, you will never be able to forgive someone else. If you lie to yourself, you're going to lie to everyone else. Trust me, I know. Like the pain of my life, I was so ashamed of it at times, I lied to myself about it. And it made it so easy for me to lie to other people about it, because I was lying to myself. If I wasn't being authentic to myself, what does it matter if I'm not being authentic to somebody else? I blame myself every day. Every day. And it took me 38 years to learn to forgive myself. But in the moment that I started to forgive myself, I started to forgive other people. Because if I'm not going to show up 100% of the time for me, why am I holding people to the same standard? Why am I telling myself that these people aren't my friends and they don't care about me if they don't show up 100% of the time when I don't show up for myself 100% of the time? You know, sometimes I have to get mad. You know, sometimes I have to get aggressive in order to push myself through the weakness of the moment where I start talking about the reasons and the excuses. You know, when I get up in the morning and you see me doing these workouts, that's not easy for me. I'm out of shape. That first day, it was a struggle for me to do 5 push-ups. That's fucking pathetic. 5 push-ups. I used to do 150 push-ups a day. 5 push-ups was hard for me. I felt it. I was shaking. Now I'm proud to say that after 2 weeks, this morning, I did 20 push-ups with little to no effort. That I'm doing the workout, that I'm building the strength every day, but you have to do that inside your head too. It's not all about working out the muscles that are out here. Yes, it's great to get strong. It's great to feel strong, but imagine what it's like to have emotional intelligence. And that's what I'm talking to you about this morning. Emotional intelligence. The ability to apply intellect to your emotions. Forgiveness is the first key one. So if you don't show up 100% of the time and you hold everybody else accountable and saying that they don't show up for you 100% of the time, you're never going to move past that. You're always going to hold this blame or this standard that people aren't going to meet. And then you're going to use that to cycle back and tell yourself that, you know, it's them. It's not them. It's the fact that we don't know how to say, we don't know how to be vulnerable. We don't know how to say in a mirror with no one else around, you have issues. You don't love yourself. That shit's hard, bro. That is hard. And the reason that it's hard is because it's where you're most vulnerable. You're like an open nerve in those moments. You're wide open. And that's hard. But that's why it's hard. I'm going to promise you something right now. Whatever you're most scared of in life is what you were meant to do. Whatever brings that emotion, that adrenaline, and that much feeling into your life that it scares you, somehow that's tied to your destiny. If you were scared of heights, this is what the example I'm going to give. What if your whole life you grew up and everyone around you convinced you that you were scared of heights? Everyone around you knew you were scared of heights, and they just confirmed that to you over and over again. And then at the end of your life, you decide to climb the stairs. You decide to go all the way up. You got nothing left. And you find out then that you were meant to fly. That's what I'm talking about. Emotional intelligence. The ability to see the emotion, but have the intelligence to react in a conscious way. Panic, anxiety, all of it is a state of mind. Have you ever think about it this way. Have you ever been really sad, like depressed, and then gone anger like that? Because it shifts your physical state. Have you ever been super upset and then someone did something funny or hurt themselves and you started laughing? Physical state. It's like a role in your head. It's like a role in a movie in your head, and you play it. And you're so good at playing that role that you not only are you mentally into it, you physically go into it. You create the character and you literally back that up with your physical actions. You know, you're in a great mood and somebody says something that depresses you and you're like, oh, now I'm depressed. And what does your body do? It starts to act depressed. It's backing up what you're telling it. But if you tell it to change that thought, if you change your physical state, you can change your emotion. So apply that same thing to forgiveness. Think of the weight that you hold in your heart on not forgiving someone. Think of the pain, think of the stress, think of the pressure that it brings into your life. Then imagine for 1 second how amazing your life could be if you let it go. If you stop holding on and stop holding those standards and stop telling yourself that you got to be like this. You don't have to be like that. You have to be you right now. Be here now. You are exactly where you were supposed to be, and you're there for a reason. You're there for a lesson. Learn the fucking lesson so you can move on. I get it. 38 years I sat there and I didn't learn to listen. 38 years I wasted my life, and I sat around thinking that somebody else was going to do this shit for me. Do you know how many amazing people, I'm going to get real with you. Do you know how many amazing people I've lost in my life as friends because I held them to too high of a standard? These are amazing people. I would be lucky to have them in my life, but I came up with some stupid excuse of why they didn't meet my criteria as a good friend. You want to know why I don't have that many friends standing around me? Why I don't have a co-host every day? It's because of the choices I make, the pressure I put on people and relationships in my life. And that comes directly from what I hold myself accountable to. For years, I thought I had to be perfect and everybody else had to be perfect. And if they weren't perfect, they didn't care. And if I didn't, what does that say about me? If I wasn't perfect, if I didn't show up 100% of the time, I didn't care about my own life. But we don't think about the language that we use to tell ourselves our own story. Let me give you another example. This is something I said to myself my whole life until someone woke me up, just like I try to wake you up. They said, Jimmy, why do you get so mad? I don't know. Jimmy, why? And I just said it. I said, because it's me against the world. Because it's me against the world. And you know what they said? They said, Jimmy, take a deep breath. And I took a deep breath. And I was like, what? He was like, Jimmy, if it's you against the world, how are you ever going to win that fight? Damn. Perspective. My whole life up until that point, it was me versus the world. That was the story that I told myself. It was me versus the world. No one was trying to help me. No one was on my side. It was me versus the world. How in the hell can I win that fight? Me versus 7 billion people? Me versus the elements? Me versus the planet? Do you see why I was depressed? Do you see why I was so upset? I couldn't forgive myself. I couldn't forgive myself because I was so hurt in my youth that I thought every person was out to hurt me too. Because my mom hurt me, I thought naturally everybody else would hurt me. Okay, we're going to get real deep. You ready? This is for me. This isn't for you. But if it does hit home, maybe it is. Mom, out in the universe, I'm talking to you now. I want you to know that I forgive you. I forgive you for not being the mom that I needed you to be so that I could become the man I was supposed to be. If I would have had the life that I wanted, I never would have become the man that I needed to be. If you would have been loving, if you would have been nurturing, if you would have been caring, I never would have went through the trauma that would have created the person that I am today, the person that can reach in and help people because I was traumatized. I can make a difference because you wouldn't change. You weren't strong enough to be the mom that I wanted you to be, so I will be strong enough to be the person that I need to be. not just for me, but for my wife, for my family, for my followers, for my friends, for the fucking world. I will show everyone what you can do when you make the choice to change. And I would have never had that strength if it wasn't for my mom being not the best mom. If she would have been the mom that I wanted, I could not become the man that I needed to be. And I forgive her for that. I thank her for that. I thank you right now, Mom, out in the universe, wherever you are, for abandoning me when I was 9 years old. Because if I would have gone on to live that life like everybody else, that's who I'd be right now. I wouldn't know how to push. I wouldn't know how to fight. I wouldn't know who I was supposed to be. I wouldn't know how to make a change. But because you put me in the position to be in trauma and to be scarred for life, I now see that trauma in other people, and I have the ability to help them turn that into a superpower. Because when I used to read those comic books when I was a little kid, it was always the traumatic moments that created the biggest heroes. It was always the hardest moments that created that superpower. You were my hard moment. But who I'm becoming is that superpower. And you gave that to me in that trauma, in that moment. And I forgive you for it. Now you honestly tell me, can you do that? Can you forgive and speak out into the world, whether people are watching or not? Can you just say it? Can you let it go? That felt amazing. I've never done that. But there are people out there right now that need to let go. And if I need to be the example by forgiving a mother that traumatized me again and again and again, and you need to see that I can let that go, how can you hold on to an argument? How can you hold on to whatever it is that you're holding on to that says that it's more important for you to have your standards than it is for you to have connection? I'm going to break it down for you real quick right before I get off here. Listen when I say it. True wealth comes from connection, and you can't buy that. You can get to the top of the top, but if you don't have someone to share it with, you're poor. If you don't have that connection in your life, you're broken. But everybody wants to pull away from it because you have to be vulnerable, because you have to be open, because it literally gives someone the ability to hurt you. And that's why we give everything else away so easily, but we never give away the ability to make connection. Forgive yourself. Allow yourself to open up and make a true connection. And when you do, don't hold them to a standard that is unattainable. Remember that you make mistakes. So if you love them, you'll understand they make mistakes. Don't judge them off their behavior. Judge them on who they are. Deep one today. I hope it helps. I'll work through some stuff in the middle of that myself. Forgive yourself. You're worth it. It's because I just woke up. I'm waiting for you. I'm going to be at the top. I'm a couple of steps ahead of you. That's it. Make a choice to change, and I'll see you up there. All right. So I think you might know how it goes. But I'll say it again. One time, real loud for the people in the back. Where is it? There it is. Pay attention. Stay tuned. And witness my growth. I love you guys. Have a great day. I hope it helped. I'm sure tomorrow I'll be all pumped up and I'll be back in here to tell you to get off your ass and stop being a couch cushion and stay hard. But today, take a moment and reflect. Appreciate who you are. Appreciate what you have, not what you want. And know that you have it for a reason. And as soon as you start appreciating what you have, maybe you'll start getting what you want. I love you. And in the world of madness that we live in, I want you to know that you are loved. I believe in you. And today is your fucking day.